Well, welcome back to another day where MAGAs are literally hating their lives. Yes, they've got another disappointment from their leader, from their cult leader. And guess what? It happens to be around this base or facility that is being created for Qatar for them to come over here and learn to fly our fighter jets. Yeah, in our one of our most important bases that happens to be in Idaho, Mountain Home. This is where a lot of our freaky deaky stuff kind of happens. And we're inviting another country to come in and train there, not only train there, but actually have ownership of the facility to a large degree. Now, I will have to tell you that, this is normal to a degree, right? We often host other countries to come over and work with us and train with us. And you know what? They host us too. And not only that, but we have bases in Germany, we have bases in other countries. So some people might say, well, isn't this just normal business that, hey, we have a base over there, they can have a base over here? No, that's not normal. Yes, we do host other countries to train with us, and I think that's an important part of our training and the growth of our military. But we're not talking about the same thing here. We're actually going to see things just briefly because, of course, we couldn't stand this, but we're going to see things through the eyes of MAGAs for a minute. To them, Qatar, that's Saudi Arabia. That's, you can think of the names they call those people. Well, now they're over here flying our jets, learning our jets, operating on our soil. No, the answer is no. The MAGAs are literally losing their minds over this. Now, you add to that the fact that prices are going up, that they're losing their rural hospitals, they're losing their doctors, their insurance is going up. They're likely have already sold their boat, their ATV, their RV, or if they haven't, they're thinking about it, or they're even thinking, hey, I might lose my job. Maybe I did lose my job and I don't even know how I'm going to pay for my house or my mortgage or my rent. They're in a bad place, as is the rest of us, but they are particularly in a bad place because they were coerced into thinking that everything was going to get better. So, you and I, we knew things were going to get bad. We just didn't know how bad they were going to get. We're living what we knew was going to happen. We knew about Project 2025. We knew they wanted to put it into operation. We knew all this. So to us, this is just confirmation of things we already knew. But if you're a MAGA, this is betrayal. This is sticking a knife in you. This is your Führer turning on you, your leader turning on you. This is the ultimate betrayal. Okay. And yes, is it around the base? Yes, but it's also around all the things that are falling on them, hitting them in the head, whap, 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 waking them up. The spirit guides told you. And oh, by the way, I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium. If you just landed here, yeah, I'm channeling this message. Just hang out. You might find that it's grounded in useful information. But the spirit guides told us, right? They told us that there was a stretchy rubber band, and you could only stretch that rubber band so many times before it broke. Here we are. They predicted this. Their rubber bands in their little fragile minds are breaking. We talk about breaking our brain. This is what's happening. Their brains are being broke. This is not going to go over well at all. It actually, and then the guides just showed me the military, the veterans, like a lot of these MAGAs are veterans. They've served in the military. They don't like this. This doesn't feel good to them. It feels like an incursion of their property, an incursion of it feels like we're being invaded. When I go into MAGA energy, that's what I feel. I feel like I'm being invaded. My country's being invaded. And this doofus in the White House is letting them invade us. So this is where they are thinking. This is what they are thinking. And I think the end result of that, and I've always said this for years, and many of you have shared that this has happened, right? But when your friends, family, boss, coworkers, whoever they are, that happen to believe in this cult, when they opt out, when they drop out, when their brain gets broken, how How you're going to know is they're going to say, all politics are bad, all politicians are bad, both parties are bad. They're going to walk away from the whole thing. Because this is what happens to people who can't take responsibility for their lives or for their decisions. What do? They blame everybody. They never take responsibility. Are they going to take responsibility and say, oh man, I've been sold a load of you know what, and I really screwed up and I'm responsible for this. So therefore, I'm going to do something. I'm going to switch parties. I'm going to get really active. I'm going to talk to my neighbors. I'm going to talk to my friends. No, that's not going to be the average MAGA because they're not evolved. They're not taking responsibility that their actions, their votes got us to this place. So they're just going to opt out. They're just going to, take all their toys and go home. That's what they're going to do. Okay. So that's going to be the outcome. The outcome is they're not going to vote. They're going to be unreachable is what the spirit guides just said in my head. So when they send out those calls for donations, no answer. When they send out the text, when they send out the emails, when the local party shows up and says, "Hey man, you've been a very big supporter. What happened?" No. Get out of my yard, get off my porch, get away from my door, stop calling, texting me. I'm done with you. It's going to be radical, okay? And this thing with the base in Idaho is another very shaky straw on the camel's back that's eventually going to just collapse. Now, I just want to talk briefly about this base because as a person who lived in Texas on the Gulf Coast for 30 years, well, the Gulf Coast refines oil, right? We get kind of crappy oil here, through fracking. It's not great oil. It needs a lot of refining, but you know who's got the good stuff? Yeah, of course, other countries like OPEC, like Saudi Arabia, those nations over there, Qatar, they have got the good stuff. They send it over here. It doesn't need as much refining, and then we're able to turn a profit on it quicker, okay? Let me just tell you something. Google how many oil refineries Saudi Arabia or other countries own. Because what's happening in the background is these countries are buying our water. Yes, I did say that. They're buying our water. They're buying our oil refineries. Now they're operating their jets in our bases. Maybe they always have, but this is a different level of acceptance, of ownership. Now, there's deals going on. You can Google this. There's deals, billions of dollars of the deals going on between the Trump administration and Qatar. Qatar is supposedly making this peace deal happen and releasing of the hostages. And Qatar gave Trump the plane. There's just a lot of back and forth going on here of support that ends up being billions of dollars. So another gimme is, yeah, come on over here. We'll give you all of our secrets, right? I mean, look, let's be honest. Let's be honest. As I said earlier, you and I, we already know the real thing. And the real thing is our secrets are gone. Trump already sold our secrets the first time he was in office. That's why he kept all those documents, those top secret documents in Mar-a-Lago, because he was still selling them allegedly for entertainment purposes only. But the majority of Americans are not like you and me. They don't pay attention to politics. It's just not their thing. Maybe they can tell you every stat from an athlete. Maybe they can tell you everything about a celebrity. Maybe they can tell you everything about hunting and fishing. They don't know nothing about politics. And those people are about to get rudely awakened and they're not going to be happy. And I've said this since last year. Even when Biden was president, I told you guys these MAGAs are going to wake up and they're going to rush right past you. They're going to be mad as hell. They're going to be looking for the source of their anger. Don't get in front of them. You're not the source of their anger. Why become the source? You're not. Step back. Step back. Let them run right past you straight to the local Republican office. Let them go to the source of their anger. We are not helping ourselves by stepping in front of these people and, making them attack us. Let them attack each other. That's what needs to happen here. Let them take responsibility for why we got here. Let them hold the people in office to responsibility for the reason we got here. Okay. So these people are going to wake up. They're going to be incredibly enraged. And I was just talking to my spirit guides yesterday. So I do post on Threads, which is a social media thing. And I was just talking to them because one thing that triggers me, the human side of Susan. So right now I'm about 40% Susan, 60% spirit guides. And I can channel where my whole personality disappears. You can find it on this YouTube channel. It's there. But I like this because the guides like this because it's more human. It helps the humans get the message when a human delivers it instead of a robot. So I was talking to the guides yesterday and I said, and the thing that triggers me is these ICE people going around kidnapping people. It enrages me in a way that I don't think I can be responsible for my actions. And I'm just being honest with myself and you. And that is why I try to stay away from situations like that because I am Irish, okay, among other things, but the temper completely Irish and also have Mars and Scorpio. So you add those two things together and let's just say that I have a spicy temper. And let's just say that my spirit guides have told me months ago. We'd rather you not go to jail. We'd rather you not go to prison. It's going to mess up your whole soul path. Let's just avoid that, right? So I'm just telling you that because, when you guys watch us, we're human. I'm human. I'm human, right? So my bias is when I see these videos, it literally enrages me. And if I saw that happen on the street, I would be under the jail if I survived because I would put my whole body on that person. And I'm not saying that I'm some important, strong warrior woman. I'm just saying I'm a pissed off woman. And that counts for a lot, right? So I was talking to my spirit guides and I said, the guides have been saying for a long time that the mayors, the police, the attorneys general, the governors, they have to stand up for the humans. Notice they called us humans. They didn't say citizens. Okay, they called us humans. Our whole lesson right now is how much is a human worth? Is a human worth more than your dollars? Right? This is where we are. This is the lesson we're trying to learn. And I was lamenting to my spirit guides. Well, maybe I was screaming. I don't know. I don't know. Right? That I don't know if they're going to step up. And if they don't step up, what I just told you about the Magas going crazy, well, I kind of see people going crazy. I see everybody going crazy and just like losing their minds. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? And just like doing bad things to these ICE people, criminal things potentially. I mean, it's a very gray area. Who's the criminal right now? But anyway, and so I was asking my spirit guides, are we going to get to that point? Because I don't see enough. There is evidence of police helping. There is evidence of mayors and governors. But so far, it just seems like words. And what we really need is action. I'm sure you agree with me when I say I'm tired of words. We need actual, real action. Action. Okay. So I was telling my spirit guides that, and they said we're going to get to a detente. See, when I'm channeling, I can never remember the exact word, and I want to say al dente, like for pasta. We're going to get to a nice al dente with our pasta because that word did not come to me when my brain was 100% in control. So a détente, I think it's a détente, a standoff. Okay. So I don't think we're going to have, how did I get here? I don't know. I don't know how I got here, but here we are. I'm channeling. It's very hard to control them. I don't think we're going to get to a civil war, but I'll say this last year, and I hope you guys understand this, right? The energy is the same. If Kamala Harris had won, which she did win, and he was never shot, okay, there's a lot of things here. She did win. But if she had gotten in, completed her destiny, gotten in, she would have had the same situation. The energy is the energy. I'm telling you right now, it's the energy. The energy is she would have had roaming thug groups attacking us. It wouldn't have been sanctioned by the government. That's the difference. And that's a big difference. That is a big difference. But the guides would tell me for years, we have this situation coming that it's just like the Troubles in Northern Ireland, that our own people would attack us. If you follow me for years, and I've been doing this for years, you will remember me saying that, right? Here we are. The energy wants to express itself. It doesn't matter who's in office. It just depends on how it expresses it, right? So he's in office, and now who do we have? Not the government attacking us. These are thugs. These are not trained, not sanctioned by a real government, thugs. It's the same energy, okay? So we get to a detente, and I don't know what that means, but the good news is that it means that even if a city burns or there is an attack or is a flare up or a riot, I'm going to tell you what you're seeing is 10% of what it would have been, because it would have been 80%. Okay, so if you see this, if you see a city burning or a big, huge, they always call it conflagration. I think that's fire. I don't know. A big, huge mixing up of people that becomes violent. That is possible. 100% possible. And maybe it needs to happen for mayors and police to start freaking protecting us. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Something has got to shake these people out of their inaction. What in the heck is wrong with them, right? So anyway, a détente, a standoff. So you go to your corner, I go to my corner. Nobody, maybe that is it's certainly not a civil war. That's what I'm trying to say here. Maybe it's a flare up, and I do see flare ups, but it's not a complete breakdown, because that's what I was asking them. Are we going to go into a civil war? Because so far I've been hearing no from my spirit guides. And I was like, look, I have to like really put it to you, because to this human right now on this timeline, it looks really bad. And that's when they said detente. So I think that, again, right. So I'm hearing a cooling off period. I also feel like that cooling off period happens when JD is, I can't say the word president, but anyway, ascends the throne, because right now we have a king situation going on, right? What I see is Vance getting in, and then he's going to pivot the same way, you guys, that MTG is pivoting. She is pivoting. She's out there saying, my people can't afford their rent. She's sounding normal. She's sounding like a normal human being. That is pivoting. We're not going to believe that. We know that. We know she's just full of malarkey. We know that. But the important thing for you to understand is, because this is really important, I want you to put this in your brain and remember it. These people are not who they say they are. Vance is going to pivot. He's going to say, oh, this is terrible. We can't have these ice. No, this is terrible. I'm going to change it. I'm going to make it less dangerous. I'm going to rein them back in. He's going to look like a hero. I'm telling you right now, I'm warning you, forewarned is forearmed. He's going to look like a hero. Is it going to make me throw up? Yes, it is. It truly is. This is the important thing. They're all going to pivot. They're all going to rebrand. You know this because I'm telling you this. So when it happens, you're not surprised. Okay. When your family comes and says, well, now I can vote Republican because, man, Vance really he's much better. Try not to lose your mind. Okay. I do think that Vance is going to pivot. I do think that he's going to help us. This is what was said in his Kabbalah and his energy. It's weird, but it's true. He's going to help us because he's going to throw water on the fire, because he has a different objective. This is all been written. This is like a play that they wrote, a script for a movie. This has all been written down already. We'll get Trump to do these things. We'll allow him. We know he's going to do all these things. We'll let him rip. We'll let him rip. He'll destroy the place. And then I'll come in as the good king, and I'll say, you guys just mind me, and I'll make the bad guys go away. Let's see how many people capitulate to that. Let's see how many people. This is authoritarian version 2. Okay. Now, Here's why it's not going to work. Now that I've probably scared the living daylights out of you. Here is why it's not going to work. Because MAGA hates Vance. They hate him. They hate him. They're not going to vote. So that's good, I guess. But the people that could be at risk would be those Republicans that were disenfranchised by Trump might go to Vance. Okay, so that's a problem. But here's another reason why he's not going to have the power that he thinks he's going to have. And that's because of the power vacuum. So you remember, if you follow me for a long time, you remember extrajudicial. Remember how they kept saying the word extrajudicial? That's outside of the law, outside of the courts. What's happening right now, you guys? Everything that's happening is extrajudicial, right? Like all these thugs is extrajudicial. What Trump is getting away with, extrajudicial. Okay. The other thing they talked about at that time was the power vacuum. Do you recall that? They went on and on and on about how important it is to not have a power vacuum. And when you have a power vacuum, bad things happen, right? So when the king is offed, then you've got his cousin trying to get, and then you've got invaders trying to come in, and there's who does anybody pledge allegiance to? Everybody chooses different sides, and there's no center. There's no power in the center to control or decide what we're doing. Instead, it's mayhem, chaos. This is what's going to happen when Vance ascends the throne. Power vacuum. He's there, he's the power, but he's not, because you have MTG, who's now flush with power. She is actually getting more people behind her by talking sanity. She's read the writing on the wall. She got a copy of the script in advance, and it wasn't even the Project 2025. It was a whole nother script that they were going to implement the Project 2025 with. She got that script. She knows what's going to happen. So now she's doing what she needs to do, which is get off of this train that's getting ready to go over the cliff. So you have MTG thinking, I'm going to run for president. I'm gonna amass power. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna rebrand myself, because Republicans have the memory of an ant, or maybe the wind. I don't know. It's just non-existent, right? So if you have MTG saying, "Hey, man, I could get some power here," well, surely you have a lot of other Republican men who are thinking the same thing. So what I'm trying to tell you is they're not going to get behind JD. They're just not. Will sometimes they vote with him, or he votes, or he doesn't veto, or whatever? Yes. Will they be in agreement? Yes. But you bet believe that JD is not leading them the way Trump does. JD is following them, trying to pick up wins where he can. And it's mayhem. It's complete mayhem in the House, where you have power factions fighting each other. You remember when the Freedom Caucus arrived in Republican land, and they went after the speaker. You remember that chaos? Okay, this is what we're talking about. Chaos. So I don't think Vance is going to walk away with this like being a king of the hill. That's not going to happen. Okay, let's move on to a few of your questions. And by the way, that question was from JB7872. Thank you so much. Anna says, this is really upsetting to me. It kind of upset me yesterday. Dominion voting machines bought by GOP election officials. I mean, at some point you're like, can we not catch a break here? I mean, Dominion was the one suing, saying, hey, okay, yeah. I just it's hard. It's a lot. It's a lot of defeats in a sense, right? You're like, can't we catch a break anywhere? Okay. And then I went to my spirit guides, and they were like, yeah, that's bad. So that didn't make me feel any better, to be honest with you. They were like, yeah, that's not good. That is a challenge to the American people. This is a challenge. It also sort of turns the heat up under the boiling pot that we're all in, right? Like, can we feel that heat? Can we jump out now? Are we ready to jump out and really do something radical, like jump out of our nice little warm pot that just keeps getting warmer and warmer? So here's what I think is going to happen. I feel like the guides are saying between now, which is early October, between now and let's say by April, so well before DELECTIOM, between now and April, we are going to have, I kind of want to use the word seismic, meaning even volcanic eruptions of truth, of betrayal, of more of a clear sense of what's happening. More of us are going to wake up to what's happening. More of us, pain is a fantastic motivator, right? Like it really is. It's there for a reason. Hey, you got a pain, you should go get help. You should stop doing what you're doing. You should be more careful. Pain is our warning system, right? So as we get into pain, and this is humans in the United States, around prices, around justice, around our way of life, around whatever it is, that's the pot getting hotter and hotter. And we will do something. We will do something. So, why is this important? Because this activation, the guides are calling it, of our consciousness, of our souls. And I don't know why they said that other than I think our soul purpose, some of our soul purpose has been sleeping dormant, they're saying. And you wake up with a new sense of purpose, right? Isn't that the thing we say? I woke up with a new sense of purpose. This is what the guides are saying. They call it a soul purpose, but we're going to wake up with a new sense of purpose. We're going to wake up with the pain point of maybe this has been going on for 200 years. Maybe it's been going on since this country was founded, but the buck stops here. I can't allow it to continue in my lifetime. I'm going to switch gears into a much more activist person between now and April. Between now and April. So when you have that, let's say in May, well, guess who controls voting? Is the states. So I can see investigations, and they're not investigate. It's more like, well, I guess it is an investigation, but it's like it's almost like a forensic level investigation of Dominion, of all of them. Like if you want to run a vote here in Missouri, I just chose a red state. You want to run a vote here in Idaho, in Florida, in Kentucky. We don't believe the efficacy. We don't believe that these voting machines, we don't like them. We're going to go with a different contractor. Want to know why? Want to know why that is going to happen? Because the magas are going to be literally on fire, out of control, literally out of control. That's what I worry about. Is this the guides keep saying you can have a controlled burn or you can have an out of control wildfire. They keep telling y'all this in my videos. The out of control wildfire, that's the magas going berserk, right? And so if they're going berserk, then the states are going to have to answer that. The states are going to have to say, okay, we hear you. We're not going to use Dominion. We'll use whatever you want, paper ballots, whatever you want. You know what I mean? You will see the state government make a deal because, they created this Frankenstein monster, the MAGA. If you don't think they understand how dangerous these people are, they created them. They know how dangerous they are. They encourage them to be dangerous. And now Frankenstein's turning back on its owner. So they're going to make a deal. They're going to, at least the guides are saying, they also think these people are really stupid. So I'm just saying what I'm getting. And that they'll make a deal. They might not follow through on it, right? Or it may be like a slippery or a tricky deal, but they're gonna make a deal. So I think that this, when I go all the way to November of 2026, there's other things happening. There's more unrest because I'm just telling you, we are in the troubles. Look up the troubles in Northern Ireland. Just look it up. I've been saying this for 3 years. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say this stuff. I don't want to be here, but here I am. Okay. I don't want to be here on the screen having to tell you things that are not great. I would love to tell you that, everything is going to be easy. I mean, there are things that are going to get a lot better. There are things that are going to get a lot better, even under Vance. They're going to get a lot better. But overall, the people are now radicalized because they're not going to stop at, okay, we took ICE off the streets. We're not going to do that anymore. I don't, I think some people are going to be apathetic and go home and just do their thing. But I think there's a group of people that are on the left and a group of people on the right that are seriously activated, and they're not going to go home. They're going to be agitators. They're going to be fighters. They're going to be protesters. So when you go into 26, I think there's more of that. There's just more shouting, like no one is hearing us. You haven't done enough for us. You went back, Congress went back, but you really didn't do what you said you would do. You didn't hear us. This is both the MAGAs and the liberals. And I've seen this too for years. We're all in the streets together, right? I predicted that we would all be in the streets this year. Predicted it under Biden. And here we are. Everybody's in the streets. We have no King's Day. It's probably going to be the biggest protest in the United States history, right? Next year, we're going to be in the streets again, but it's not just going to be liberals. It's going to be everybody. You're going to have a doctor, a plumber, a babysitter, a student, newly, arrived person here. You're going to have all of us in the streets because we gave you a chance. We told you what we wanted. You didn't listen. Now we're going to make sure you hear. And we're not, it's a fire. It's not an out of control fire. It's not that, but it is a burning fire that just travels around the country. It's not out of control, but it is an impactful energy. Okay. So I think that 26, the voting in 26 is going to be mostly trustworthy, more trustworthy than 24. More trustworthy than 24. There's going to be cities, and again, this is why the fire is going to continue burning, because there's going to be cities that people are going to, that we have become empowered. We're now doing our own research. We're following people who are doing research. The power is with the people now. We're not watching CBS. We're not watching NBC. The MAGAs aren't even going to be watching Fox. We're going to be watching other people, independent news sources. We're going to be getting our own information. And we're going to realize that these results don't match this demographic for this place. And it's not going to take much to make people think that they've been stolen from, because we have been stolen from. So let's just say we're triggered easily. So, but I see 26 being, for the most part, successful. For the most part, it's successful. And I do see 26. Everybody's saying we're not going to have a vote. We are going to. We are going to. Again, you guys, the human Susan, the human Susan wants to leave. She wants to leave. She wants to go to any country. I don't care, except for maybe not a hot country. But anyway, my guides are like, you're fine. You're fine. Calm down. You're fine. So, they think we're going to be overly, basically, okay. Okay. Like I tell y'all, if y'all see me broadcasting from some other country, then, we got a problem. But right now, we need to stay and take ownership of our own country. They have taken it over. And we need to make sure they know who really is the owners of this country, and it's us. Renee has a really interesting question. She says the Supreme Court is looking to gut Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, giving Republicans another 27 seats and a permanent majority in the House. What do you see happening here? Will this come to fruition? And I'm not saying you're right or wrong, Renee. I'm just saying I have not looked this up. So I don't know the ins and outs of what you're asking. But the reason I'm answering your question is that this the same, because the guides told me it's the same answer in Texas. If they take away Jasmine Crockett's seat, she's going to win in a Republican district. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is they can gerrymander till the cows come home. Republicans are no longer Republicans. They're still operating on this false narrative or false belief that they control an army of MAGAs. They don't control that army of MAGAs. They lost a whole bunch of people over CK, Mr. Kirk. They lost a lot of people over this base or where this facility in Idaho. They've lost even more people over their loss of their resources. Social Security is delayed, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, any sort of help. Their hospitals, their doctors are disappearing. You can't even afford groceries. This is all Republican, caused by Republicans. So they can gerrymander. Go ahead at this point. Go ahead. The only thing that I can see happening that is problem for us is that when those gerrymandered red districts go blue, 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 they're going to be like, wait a minute, this must have been stolen. You know what I mean? They're going to scream even louder. Of course, this was stolen. This is a red district. They don't think humans are ready to be self aware or vote in their own self interest. They don't think that. They think they still have captured their brains, but their brains broke. Remember? Their brains broke. So I'm not worried about them. I'm not really worried about them gerrymandering these seats. What's bad about that is the fact that the Supreme Court is broken. That's the problem there, right? So I and the guides would just say this too, right? Like I think if you say 4 out of 5, like I'm saying over 95% of special races that have been held up to today have been won by Democrats. Some, like the mayor in Alaska. This is a red state and a red city. And a Democratic mayor won it. Okay. Women are winning. Everybody's winning that's not red. So this just tells you right now that it doesn't matter anymore that it's a red state or a red district. They are decimating their own people. And what's left of those people that can pick themselves up and have any kind of action energy are going to go to the polls and take revenge. They're going to take revenge. Okay. So maybe we should talk about the Supreme Court, right? So I think what's going to happen is that unless Vance gets in, he pulls back, some of the ugliness. We have a breather. The guides have mentioned this several times. Now that I'm channeling, I remember this. I should channel more often. I probably feel calmer. Anyway, we have a breather. We need that breather. It's like a respite in the storm. It's like when you're at the battle and you get pulled off of the front line and you get sent to R&R. We have a chance to regroup. That's what we're going into, is this chance to regroup. Now, at the same time, everything I've told you are puzzle pieces. They're fitting into what I'm about to tell you. So we have a breather. People are catching their breath. People are restocking, you know what I mean? Almost just like making new weapons, like that kind of energy. At the same time, you have a power vacuum. You have people like MTG. You have all these Republicans who are shifting and we've told you, once the bookie is gone, I think that's so funny. They call Trump the bookie. Once the mob boss is gone, you're free person now. You don't have to be a part of the mob because the guy that was going to break your knuckles is gone. Now you can be your own person. This is the power vacuum. So you have Vance in office, but then you have all these Republicans going, forget this, man. I've got as much power as that dude does. As a matter of fact, I've got a lot more power. If I go back to my constituents and make nice and try to, cobble up some kind of contingency group of them, I don't have to listen to this Vance guy. I can basically vote any way I want to now. I have the freedom to do what I want to do. What does that mean? That means that Congress is now making laws. That means Congress is making laws that are not vetoable. that have too much support to be vetoable. What does that also mean? Then Congress starts getting fill of themselves. Like they're like, okay, we got some power. We got some power. Let's think about who we need. Now that we have power, we're listening to our constituents because we want to keep that power. Because now, guess what? I'm not answering to the robber baron. I'm not answering to the mob boss. I'm realizing that now the mob boss is gone and the crazy MAGAs are gone. For me to keep this seat, I've got to talk to these constituents. Okay. The constituents are telling me, you got to get rid of the Supreme Court. We got to clean it up. I'm telling you right now, Republicans and Democrats are going to be telling Republicans and Democrats in office, you got to clean it up. We're going to be on you. We're going to watch you. We're not going to let you sleep. We're not going to let you go on vacation. We're going to be on you 24/7. We're going to watch every move you make. And until you do what we want you to do, we're never going to give you a moment's peace, period, end story. So then what I see is this pressure going on to the Supreme Court. Now, they are the highest court in the land. They're practically untouchable because they rule for an entire lifetime. But here's the thing. It fits in. All the puzzle pieces fit together. I hope you're with me right now, right? Because the other puzzle piece is, well, you have activated this entire contingent of people. Remember when we said, we're not going to listen to NBC. We're not going to listen to ABC. We're going to do our own work. We're going to do our own research. We're going to follow people who do the research. And you know what? We're going to check their receipts because we don't want to be crazy. We want to make sure there's evidence. We want to make sure there's actionable advice here. And when we have that, we're going to put the screws to these people like Roberts. What does that mean? It means that maybe I'm going to take my $10 a month and pay ProPublica. Are you familiar with ProPublica? PROPUBI. You guys have to help. ProPublica. I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, guess what? They're the ones that broke. They're the ones that broke the news, that did the research about Clarence Thomas and his vacations. There are people, there are institutions, there are now. Don Lemon was out there last night reporting from the literal front line of Chicago's big, huge, massive standoff. Don Lemon just grabbed a microphone. This is what I'm saying, right? We are going to find these people. We're going to support them. And then what's going to happen is they're going to investigate people like Roberts. They're going to investigate people like Alito, people like Kavanaugh, people like all of those people, Gorsuch and Thomas. They're going to make them miserable. They're going to follow them. They're going to follow them. They're not going to get a moment's peace. If you can't get a moment's peace, you don't have peace. And furthermore, the economy's crashed out and people are mad at you. People hate you. You're a pariah in your own country. You're a pariah at the country club. Oh, snap. Really? You can't even hang out with the rich people anymore? This is what I keep telling you guys. This is what is about to happen. Robber barons are about to see life in a new way. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. They're going to be pariahs. Guess what that does? They're not stupid. They're in a boiling pot. The heat gets higher and higher and higher. They're going to jump out. I see Roberts stepping down. I see Thomas stepping down. I think Roberts has a big health issue going on that nobody knows about. I know Thomas has a big health issue that's going on. Maybe those things will be leaked. What did we say last year? The person of the year was going to be the whistleblower. How many whistleblowers have come out, right? How many of these Epstein victims come out over and over again? New ones pop up. You can't stop this energy. This is the people energy. If I go, there's 10 more behind me. If they go, there's 50 more behind you. If you get rid of one, more sprout. Okay, that's the energy. You cannot control this. You cannot, because it's consciousness. It's our consciousness. It's our souls waking up and stepping into this new evolution of people are important. We want to protect people during the pandemic. We want to protect people by having vaccines. We want to protect people from thugs just kidnapping them off the street. We want to help our people by giving away free lunches at schools. We want to help our people by giving restitution to Native peoples, to giving restitution to brown, black, Asian people. That's where we're going. That's why they're fighting so hard to keep us locked down and stupid, because they know. They know our consciousness is rising. They know we're becoming awake. That's why they went on this whole tirade about woke, because they saw it. They hire astrologers, they hire psychics. They're not stupid. They hire really good ones. Other countries actually embrace this kind of thing. They know what's coming, and this is them preparing for it. Let's squash these people before they realize just how much power they really have. That's what they're trying to do right now. It's not working. It's not working. It cannot work. You cannot keep the sun from coming up over the horizon. This is what they're trying to do. Trying to keep us in the dark. These people truly believe that they can somehow convince us the sun didn't even come up. Well, that's called coercion. That's called being in a cult. But even their own cult members are waking up. Their rubber band is breaking. Their brain is breaking. They're putting two and two together. Wait, my costs are so high. You just kidnapped this person that I always buy, something from, that I really like. I love their family. You kidnapped them. Now you're bringing Qatari people over here to work in our soil. Every one of those, you guys, is a rubber band breaking. Every one of those things is rubber band breaking. So the Supreme Court is going to get the pressure. Now, I'm not here telling you, I hope you don't hear me. Half of y'all say I scare the hell out of you, and the other half of you say I make you feel better. So I don't know. But anyway, I'm not a Pollyanna. This is not going to be a cakewalk, because we're being birthed. Ask any baby if they could talk, if that was a fun ride, right? They probably got some choice words, which generally comes out by screaming at the top of their lungs, because that was not an easy thing they just went through, right? We are the babies being reborn to a new evolution, a new timeline. It's going to hurt like hell, but it's going to be worth it, because we're going to grow. We're going to learn how to walk and fall down and skin our knees. We're going to learn the stove is hot, don't touch it. We're going to learn the stars are brilliant at night. We're going to learn the sun comes up over the mountains. We've got all this ahead of us. The most important thing is that we do it together, is that we find ways to do it together. America is going to have a conversation. Who are we? That's the next thing, because we have Columbus Day tomorrow. And Columbus was a effing dickwad. He was a murderer. His own people didn't even like him. Yet I grew up thinking Thanksgiving and Columbus Day were like the best thing in the universe. We were lied to. We were lied to. So now people are waking up to, oh my God, I was lied to. Oh my God, I can't trust anything. It's not just the MAGAs. It's us too. We're waking up too, to realize how many inventions did women make that never got one dime. There are thousands of inventions that Black people made that never got one dime. The history of America is not what we think it is. It's pretty violent. It's pretty ugly. And you know what? We have to honor that. This is how we get our power, is we say, I'm honoring that this happened. I want to make amends. How can I make amends? Can we have a truth council? Can we talk to each other? Can we sit down and learn from each other? Can I learn from you that had such a different experience than me? Can I honor that? Can we then build a new United States? Because we're going to. I'm going to tell you right now, we are. Now that's painful. This is why you get people saying, I just want to go back to the 1950s, all these men. I just want to go back to the 1950s when my wife was there waiting for me to get home and put my slippers on and make my dinner. Well, guess what? You voted for people who made it now impossible for one person to support a family. You voted for all the things that you hate. So they have to come to that realization as well. And when you have that kind of shock to your system, it's not easy. Our whole country needs therapy. We need somebody to come in and lead us through this. We had it. I think Kamala Harris could have been that person. But apparently, we needed to learn this lesson a little bit deeper. Maybe our wound went so deep that even she couldn't heal it. Maybe what needed to happen was the wound needed to be eviscerated. Maybe we needed to dig down in there and find that rot. Dig down, pain, agony, screaming, to find the true source, to get to that true source, to stop pushing things under the rug, like we did after the Civil War when we did Reconstruction, like we did after civil rights when you still had redlining and ERA was never even passed. Yeah, we had huge wins, but then we dropped the ball. And that's why we're here now, because there's an inequality that is too much for the humans to bear. It's too much for the humans to bear. They will not bear it anymore. So as we go forward into 2026, we start to address this. It's not going to be snap, it's fixed. Anybody who thinks snap, it's fixed, it doesn't happen. You don't snap a baby out and it grows up to be 50 years old with a good job. It doesn't happen, you guys. We're being rebirthed. Next year is a year 1. This is a year 9. This is endings. I mean, it kind of fits, right? Next year we start again. But when we start, we're learning. This is when we're going to be listening to each other, supporting each other, realizing that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've been thinking from my own very narrow viewpoint. Maybe if I sit down with some other cultures, some other races, some other religions, maybe if we can do that, we can move through this much faster. I don't think we'll do that, but I think we'll do it in degrees. So this is the beginning. Vance comes in. Pressure is applied. Pressure causes change. Republicans drop out. Democrats drop out. Midterms come in. Big changes. Big changes. I've been predicting for over a year the Democratic Party could split. The Republican Party could split. 4 parties. 4 real, truly real parties. Other countries do this. It's not bad. We could go to ranked choice voting. I don't know. There are big changes here. We may not get it right in 26. We may have to get it right in 28. We might have to further get it right in 32. We're going to be moving in the right direction. So when you see rebirth, it's not perfect. I want you to understand this. It's not going to be perfect. We're not going to get everything. We're always going to have scoundrels. This is a free choice planet. It is not nirvana. Check your ticket. You went to the wrong planet. If you thought you were in a place where people were always going to treat each other perfectly, you're in the wrong place. We know this, right? We know this. We have in our own lives narcissists. We have in our own lives bullies. We have in our own lives liars and cheats. We've been betrayed. We live in a Shakespearean environment. So it's not going to be perfect. We're going to get somebody and they're going to let us down and then they're going to do the right thing. It's just not black and white. And I think if we can get rid of the black and white thinking and we can think about, I made a little progress. I made a little progress. Ooh, I set back a little bit. No, I made a little progress. That's really, truly how life happens, right? Is your life a straight line? Then we got to stop hoping for straight lines. We got to start understanding that rivers bend and curve for a reason. That's us. The next 10 years are going to be a river. And why do rivers double back on themselves, right? Like, why don't they just go the straightest line? But half the time, they snake back and go backwards and then around, sideways. It's not really a very effective way to get from one place to the other if you want to go as the bird flies with no obstructions. Our life has obstructions. Mainly, it's called other people. So we have to deal with them. We have to allow ourselves to understand we're in a dark place right now. We've been let down. We have seen our fellow humans be monsters. And I think for many of us, that's the worst. It's not even Trump. It's the fact that these men and maybe a few women have joined this thug group and are just going around being violent criminals. I think that's the part that has literally waylaid us, that has made us depressed, that has made us feel so incredibly sad. Again, maybe America's not who we thought it was. Maybe we're not who we thought we were. But what I would say to you about that is really important. There's always going to be thugs. There's always going to be criminals. Always. There's always going to be people who have power that use it unjustly. Always. Always. Our job, your job, my job, is to do what we can to make sure that power is used wisely, to hold those who have power accountable, to work to stop that sheriff who runs their little town like a mob boss. Because this energy isn't just in 1600 Pennsylvania. It's not just in the White House. Bully energy is run amok. It's taken over. So we have to address the bully energy in our church, in our schools, in our neighborhoods, in our homes. In our homes. Before we can push the bully energy back to less control of us everywhere. We can't just complain about the bully in the White House. We have to understand it's bully energy everywhere and do what we can to fight back against it. And how you do that is not hiding by yourself, is by linking arms with others, forming groups. There's power in numbers. Form groups. Maybe don't call yourselves Democrats. That fits exactly with the energy where we're going, where we're going to be humans. We're going to say we're the Truth Council, right? We're the brigade of our community. And we don't care if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican or what you are. We don't even care. If you're abusing power, we're going to work together to hold you accountable. I think this is where we're going. This is why I think the Democrats are going to split and the Republicans are going to split, because it's less about really a label and more about a conviction. Now, if your conviction matches the Democratic Party in your town, then perhaps you're going to support that Democratic Party. But you're going to be separate, because you're going to tell them, I support you, but I'm watching you. This is what happened. We took our eyes off the prize. We assumed, Democrats in Congress assumed, that nobody in the presidency would ever do these things. They assumed their fellow Congress people would never do these things. They just assumed that there would always be a bottom to the depravity. And then guess what else? The bottom dropped out. The depravity has no bottom. So as we go forward, we form groups that watch everybody. Because we don't know, you might you might become a Fetterman. You might be fine one minute and crazy the next. Guess what? We're not wedded to you. We're wedded to your actions. As long as you're representing us, we're good. If you start doing things that don't represent your community, our group, which is very powerful because we're a group and groups are powerful, we're going to check you. We should learn a lesson from the Magas. That was a powerful group of people. We could become powerful groups of people. And there could be 20 of them, 50 of them. It doesn't matter. And within that group, you have to understand that this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Form a group that understands that people have to go take care of their husband who's sick. People have to go have a baby and then come back. Allow breathing room, support people, support ideas, support growth. If we do this, we're going to get through this so much faster. This is the way through this lesson, this nightmare. Not fighting each other, coming together, finding common interest, creating power within those common interests, and then using that power to put pressure on the Supreme Court, on people that can put pressure on the Supreme Court, but also investigating them, airing their dirty laundry, embarrassing them. You know, we see this in Portland, Oregon, where they're dressing up in inflatable costumes, embarrassing ICE, embarrass the Supreme Court, spread their dirty laundry everywhere. We're not waiting for the Epstein files. The victims have the Epstein files. Go to the victims, interview them, have them speak their truth, spread it everywhere. This is how we take our power back. We the people. We the people. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I really appreciate you so much. We're going to get through this together. Bruised, battered, but also sometimes happy and joyful. We're going to get through this together. Okay, we really are. And let me know what you think in the comments. If you're new here, consider subscribing. These are the types of videos I do. I try to help people. I try to explain what's happening in a way that's grounded and hopefully puts the big pieces together, right? You can't just predict that person A is going to do action D because we have free will, right? But I go into the energy. What is the energy of it? And then we can see the bigger picture. We can see how all the pieces are fitting together. And we can see what choices they have. And then we can see how we can really see better the future in this way, because there is no black and white, A plus B equals C. It's all about people and free will and energy moving around. But when you get into a higher perspective, you can see what's happening. You can see the bigger picture. And for me, that helps me feel better. So I hope it makes you feel better too, right? I just want to mention to you, I have an online community, a really vibrant, really active online community. If you feel like, I don't know what to do, Susan, I don't know who to talk to, I can't talk to anybody, I don't feel safe talking on social media, that is a very real thing. People are literally getting doxxed, which means their ID is getting spread out and their employers are being notified of their things. Is bad. It's just really bad. Okay. So here's the thing. I have an online community. I pay for it because guess what? On Facebook, they're selling your information still. Believe me. Instagram, even Threads. Blue Sky is better, but it's kind of, whatever. TikTok has been bought by literally right-wing people. So there's less and less places for you to go and feel safe and say what you want to say. That's why I pay for this separate community, because Facebook is free. I could have a free community on Facebook. Wouldn't cost me anything, right? To do it privately, I have to pay for that whole infrastructure. And I chose Mighty Networks, which is women owned. And I have two communities there, right? So I have a community there that's $12 a month. You can join it monthly and you can cancel anytime you want. Literally, you click a button, you cancel. It's that easy, okay? Within my magical metaphysical community, which is my $12 community, well, you have a whole community called Democracy Dialogue, where you can go there and talk politics and get support privately, safely. You also have other areas of that community where you can go and comment and share anything metaphysical, angels, aliens, psychic, intuitive, tarot, oracle, anything you can imagine. There are people there talking about it. These are your people. These are your people, okay? $12 a month. If you can't afford that, I actually created a free one, which I also pay for. So it's not free to me, but it's free to you. And it's called Lighthouse Keepers Crew. Guess what? You can find all this on my website, SusanLynnMedium.com, SusanLynnMedium.com. But please subscribe to this channel. At least you'll get this information. And I also have another YouTube channel because, well, I'm saying things that the robber barons don't like. And it could be possible that I get removed, just like Joy Reid was removed, just like all these other people are being removed. Not to say that I am on the level of Joy Reid or Don Lemon or any of these other people, but censorship is real. If I lose this channel, that's why I created the online community outside of anything that anybody has control over except for me. My spirit guides told me to do that for years, and I did it just because I need to be able to have a way to reach you, to help you. Okay. I also have a separate YouTube channel for that very reason. My separate YouTube channel is Susan Lynn Spiritual Way Shower. Susan Lynn Spiritual Way Shower on YouTube. Click that. Subscribe there. Every Wednesday, I drop a video. There's a channel message on how to help you. If you're like, I don't know what to do anymore, I'm so depressed, I'm so despondent, check out my other free YouTube channel, because every Wednesday I teach you for free how to raise your vibration, how to get unstuck, how to make magic sigils, how to learn about your past lives. It's all free. Okay. So there's a bunch of support here for you, all within just what I'm doing here, right? Please take advantage of it. Please don't let this squash you. Don't let this make you sick. Don't let this take you offline. That's what they're counting on. They're counting on us going offline. They didn't count on the Magas going offline, I'll tell you that. Let's not let them take us offline. Let's do what we can to make us feel better. Support each other. If you've got, and this is the last thing I swear, if you've got an extra $10, please, 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 please go help a food bank. Go give your money to a food bank, give your money to a clinic. If you're a person who's lucky enough right now to have some extra dollars, please go to a community and help somebody. Please. This is our lesson. Remember, humans helping humans. Maybe you don't have anything and you can't give anything, and that's fine. Maybe you're the person who needs the help, but there are others watching who can give the help. I want to connect you guys, okay? Because this is what's going to happen. The states and the cities are going to support each other. The states and the cities are going to support you, because there may not be any health care that you can afford. So I see clinics popping up, state-run clinics, community-run clinics. Look for the help. Don't just stay in your house. Look for the help. Go ask for help. And if you can give help, go give help. We've got to take action. Go ask for help, go give help. One of those two things. Pick your spot and do it, please. Okay? Much love to you. Take really good care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only,